There are places that we hear about in the Bible and think, this must have disappeared millennia ago. But what if I told you that Shiloh, that place where the tabernacle stood for nearly 400 years and where the Ark of the Covenant rested, is being excavated? And the discoveries are chilling even if you have never opened the book of Joshua. What if I showed you that every stone, bone, and gate found there is screaming to this generation? The Bible was right all along. Yes, my friend, archaeology is not destroying faith. It is laying the foundations for it. While many still think that the accounts of Eli, Hannah, Joshua, and the Levitical sacrifices are just spiritual legends, archaeologists are dusting off evidence that confronts doubt with solid evidence. And no, we are not talking about esoteric theories or mystical guesses. They are real structures, real bones, measures that match what is in Exodus. And you'll see all of this with your own eyes here. Get ready, because what you're going to discover today could completely change the way you view the Bible. It will no longer be possible to say, this is just symbolic. It will be as if the very soil of Shiloh pulled you by the hand and said, come and see what God has left here. The question now is, are you ready to face this plunge between faith and evidence? Shiloh was not just a geographical place marked on an ancient map. It was a heart that beat among the mountains of Ephraim. When Joshua divided the land there among the 12 tribes, he was not only organizing territory, he was establishing identity, belonging, destiny. Many have passed through historical sites, but Shiloh has something different. It is as if the very bones of the earth tell secrets in silence, secrets that today, archaeology begins to whisper to those with attentive ears. The tabernacle was there for 369 years. Think about it. In the midst of the era of sacrifices, prescribed in Leviticus, it was there that the smoke rose, that the priests walked, that the Ark of the Covenant rested between the cherubim. It is difficult to step on that ground without feeling that you are in a living sanctuary. No wonder even archaeologists report unexpected emotions when excavating each fragment. It is as if the Bible leaps out of the pages and walks beside them, murmuring, "You are near." Hannah prayed at Shiloh before Eli, high priest. There, between tears and faith, she gave Samuel to the Lord. How many times have you prayed expecting a miracle? Well then, imagine doing this where Anna did. What if today we took time to pray with that same fervor? You don't have to be in Shiloh physically, but spiritually, you can be there, recognizing that some places carry a weight of glory that you can't explain. You just feel. And the most curious? Shiloh continues to deliver treasures. Every stone, every wall, every bone excavated by archaeologists becomes part of an ancient puzzle, which connects faith and fact. And that's exactly where we come into the second point, because when we talk about revealed structures, we are talking about gates. And what was found there, my friend, can change the way you read the scriptures. Want to see? Few people realize the symbolic force that exists in a gate. In the Bible, gates are not just entrances, they are markers of judgment, of meeting, of decision. And when archaeologists discovered what appears to be Shiloh's original gate, it wasn't just stone that came to light, it was history. This was the exact setting of 1 Samuel 4:18, where it reads, "And it came to pass, while he was making mention, the Ark of God, that Eli fell backward from the chair on the side of the gate and died." The Bible in the excavation met with millimeter precision. Imagine the scene. Eli, already old, blind, waiting for news of the battle. The Ark of the Covenant had been taken, and with it, all the hope of the people, the pain of a nation condensed at that gate. And now, millennia later, archaeologists find deep remains, layers of almost 6 meters, as if the ground itself had kept the moment in silence, waiting for the right time to speak. What was once read as narrative now has an address, form, and even depth. These layers revealed at Shiloh show the architecture of a complex of gates with a solid base, toppled columns, and even marks that suggest heavy use. It is not difficult to imagine the Levites with their robes crossing that space, people coming to sacrifice, priests passing by with censers, pilgrims coming in search of advice. Shiloh was a spiritual vortex. And the gate, a threshold between the common and the sacred. Remember Proverbs 31:23? Her husband is respected at the gate where he sits with the elders of the land. It was there that decisions were sealed. What if the biblical gates were also symbols of the heart? What have we let in through our own gates? Bad news? Fears? Perhaps it is time to rebuild our inputs, spiritual, emotional, mental. Just as archaeologists pull out rubble in search of the original, you may need to remove some layers as well. Because what comes after, just as in Shiloh, promises to be pure revelation. And among these revelations, there is one structure that can change everything: the tabernacle. Finding a rectangular structure with an east-west orientation at Shiloh may seem technical at first glance. But for those who know Exodus 26:33-34, this sounds like a divine whisper from the earth. And you shall put the veil under the clasps, and there within the veil you shall put the ark of the testimony, and the veil shall divide you between the holy place and the Holy of Holies. Archaeologists believe that this structure marks precisely the place where the tabernacle rested. And if this is true, we are not facing ruins. We are faced with a code of faith dug into the ground. The 1:1 ratio between length and width draws attention. It is as if the biblical text had been transcribed in stone. To the north, evidence of the Holy of Holies. To the south, traces of the holy place. The most impactful. Dr. Stripling invited a reporter to stay on what may have been the wall that separated the two rooms. There, where the Ark of the Covenant once rested. There, where God manifested himself in glory. The heart races just imagining it. And how can we not remember Exodus 25:22? There I will come to you, and I will speak to you from above the mercy seat. Now think with me. If the sacred objects are no longer there, is the presence completely gone? Or is there still a trace of reverence in the air, as if whispering, "Take your sandals off your feet"? Places like this transform those who pass by, not because they are magical, but because they have been used by God. It's the same reason why people still feel something special when they walk into a simple but prayerful church. Consecrated spaces reverberate eternity. If even architecture obeyed divine instructions, what does this teach us about order, obedience, and detail? Sometimes we want God to speak, but we ignore his measurements, his direction, his rhythm. The tabernacle reminds us that he does not dwell unawares. He is the God of plane, proportion, and presence. And if he revealed where his glory rested, perhaps he also wanted to reveal what was going on around him, where bones speak as much as stones. Few places in the world can unite faith, bone, and Leviticus as precisely as Shiloh. Near the site where the tabernacle is believed to have been, archaeologists found a deposit with animal bones. But it wasn't any random organic remains. They were organized evidences of sacrifices. And the most astonishing, the overwhelming majority of the bones were on the right side of the animals. Coincidence? Not at all. It is a literal fulfillment of Leviticus 7:32. You shall give to the priest as an offering the right thigh of your peace offerings. Imagine the scene. Priests receiving the flesh, strictly following what Moses transmitted. Centuries before, refrigeration, industrialization, or modern science, people obeyed details such as direction, portion, and even the bones that would be delivered. This is not just religion, it is reverence. And Stripling wisely says, we're not just digging up bones, we are excavating the scripture. Makes sense, right? Because every bone found at Shiloh seems to point to the God who loves to be remembered, in every detail. The right part of the animal has always had a symbolism of strength, honor, distinction. The Bible uses this several times. Jesus, for example, is at the right hand of the Father, Psalm 110:1. So, finding precisely these parts among the sacrificial remains shows that it was not random. It was liturgical. It was sacred. Now tell me, what have you offered right to God, your leftovers or your best? Sometimes renewing faith is beginning to give him what is worthy, the right time, true attention, the whole heart. And if bones tell stories, then what else can be hidden beneath that hallowed ground? After all, where there is sacrifice, there is also purpose. And where there is purpose, there are traces. But make no mistake, this isn't just archaeology. It's a kind of direct message to our time. Because the next point shows what happens when science and faith finally embrace. And when that happens, even the dust begins to preach. There are people who think that faith and science are always fighting, as if one had to cancel the other. But Shiloh shows that this is not the case. There, every piece of pottery, every fragment of bone, every foundation of wall seems to whisper, "The Bible was right," Dr. Scott Stripling himself said with conviction. God has done something in history. He recorded this for us in the Bible, and we're finding evidence of that here. And when archaeology meets faith, something changes within us. Doubt does not find much space when the ground confirms the sky. It is as if the scriptures have gained flesh, earth, and dust. When archaeologists excavate Shiloh, they're not just looking for objects, they're in a sense opening windows into another dimension. The Ark of the Covenant, the Levitical sacrifices, the tabernacle, the bones. All of this gains new weight when it leaves the symbolic reading and enters the field of palpable reality. Remember John 20:27, "Do not be unbelieving but believing." Sometimes faith needs to see, touch, step where it all began. And the curious thing is that many people come to Shiloh with a cold, skeptical heart, but leave there with wet eyes. This is because faith is not only built with logic, but also with experience. And walking through Shiloh is like walking over chapters of the Bible, literally. For those who doubt, that is like a living answer. And you don't have to be an archaeologist to feel that. You can start with a good Bible study, like Joshua or Leviticus, and who knows, plan a trip to Israel. Take it from me, there is ground that cures unbelief. You may not be able to be in Shiloh today, but you can open your heart as if you were. Because the truth is that when archaeology confirms the word, the soul awakens. And there's more to come. For what Shiloh has begun to reveal is still only the beginning. There are still buried mysteries waiting to be brought to light. Mysteries that maybe, just maybe, can change the way you believe. Now that you've seen with your own eyes how Shiloh is shouting truths buried millennia ago, tell me, can you still doubt that the Bible is a real historical and spiritual record? How many more details need to be unearthed until faith leaves the field of theory and invades your daily practice once and for all? Because, look, when science begins to confirm what the prophet said thousands of years ago, it is impossible to continue living as if it were just a coincidence. What if today were your time to rebuild your faith, just as archaeologists are rebuilding Shiloh stone by stone? What do you need to dig in there? Are you offering only the leftovers of your life? Or have you understood that God deserves and expects the best side of his animal, as taught in Leviticus? Yes, this is for me and for you. The gate is before us. The question is, are we going to walk past it or stand outside and watch? If you feel that this content has awakened you, then do the following. Leave here in the comments what was the most striking find for you. I want to know which part of this journey moved you the most. And of course, subscribe to the channel. And activate the bell, because in the next videos we will continue to unearth truths that were buried by time, but not for the purpose. Let's follow along.